The following is an examination of civil disobedience as defended by Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. in his letter from Birmingham Jail. Birmingham, Alabama, 1963. Life was especially difficult here if you were black, as it was a racially segregated city with limited opportunities for black Americans. That year, the racist Commissioner of Public Safety, Eugene Bull Connor, obtained an injunction, which is a court order by a judge, against any public demonstration, which meant that African Americans and others were not allowed by the law to protest or march in the city to demand racial equality. However, Dr. Martin Luther King wasn't going to let a law stop him from doing what he thought was right. On April 12, 1963, Dr. King and many others were arrested while demonstrating against segregation. Why did Dr. King decide to break the law? Dr. King believed in civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is the idea that citizens can and even should break an unjust or unfair law, if they cannot easily change it otherwise. The concept of civil disobedience dates back to ancient times. Dr. King also believed in nonviolent protesting, and he wasn't afraid of getting arrested if that was the price to pay for society to listen and change for the better. Criticism of civil disobedience in Birmingham. In response to Dr. King and the other demonstrators breaking the law, some clergy, which are religious leaders, in Alabama published a letter criticizing Dr. King and the other demonstrators for their civil disobedience. The clergy argued that illegal demonstrations would encourage hatred and violence. Here is an excerpt of that letter. We are now confronted by a series of demonstrations by some of our black citizens. We recognize the natural impatience of people who feel that their hopes are slow in being realized. But we are convinced that these demonstrations are unwise and untimely. We further strongly urge our own black community to withdraw support from these demonstrations and to unite locally in working peacefully for a better Birmingham. While in jail, Dr. King wrote a public reply that challenged the views of the clergymen. Dr. King expressed his disappointment in the lack of support from people who claimed to be anti-segregationist. Dr. King's letter has become an important document in the history of the civil rights movement. Here is an excerpt from Dr. King's letter. Please note that in this narration, the original text has been adapted and abridged. We know, through painful experience, that people with power never choose to give oppressed people their freedom. Freedom must be demanded by the oppressed people. For years now, I have heard the word wait. For the black person, this is a familiar word. This wait has almost always meant never. We must realize that justice too long delayed is justice denied. We have waited for more than 340 years for our constitutional and God-given rights. Perhaps it is easy for people to say, wait, if they have never felt the insults of segregation. But it is not easy for us to wait. We have seen vicious mobs of people lynch our black family members whenever they felt like it. We have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, and even kill them. We see most of our 20 million black family members being crushed by poverty in a rich society. How can you wait for change when you struggle to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she can't go to the public amusement park that has just been advertised on television? How can you wait when you see tears welling up in her eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children? How can you wait when she starts to feel like she is less important? When you see her developing bitterness toward white people? How can you wait for change when you have a 5-year-old son who is asking, "Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean?" And when you take a cross-country drive and have to sleep in your car night after night because no motel will accept you? How can you wait when you are humiliated daily by signs reading white and colored? When you are forever fighting a feeling that you are nobody? There comes a time when enough is enough, and people are no longer willing to be empty of all hope. I know, sirs, that you are very concerned about our willingness to break laws. This is not the whole truth. We encourage people to obey laws, such as the Supreme Court's decision of 1954, which made segregation illegal in public schools. You may ask, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? The answer is that there are two types of laws, just and unjust. We have a responsibility to obey just laws, but we also have a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. As St. Augustine wrote, an unjust law is no law at all.